Hello, this is Mark from I Am Organic Gardening, located in Zone 6B, and we have some current snowy conditions here. But welcome to part 4 of how to start our garden and fruit forest. And I want to give you an update on our fall leaves that we have sitting here. They're decaying. And I wanted to start this video by showing you how the winter is going to be helping these leaves immensely. So one nice thing about organic matter, or especially leaves, is they absorb water when they decay. Not a lot, but they stay moist. And you can see here is that ground is completely frozen. It's only currently 18 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And when that continues to thaw and freeze again and thaw and freeze again, they will start breaking down those leaves without any microbial activity. And here we have our leaf mold that's mixed in our raised bed here. That's about 2 feet high of our soil that we are growing. Now I want to go back inside and show you a little demonstration about how the soil grows and what it really does. And the best thing I want to show you is what's the importance of water supplying oxygen to our soil. So I moved over to another field, and you can just barely make it out before it gets too snow covered. This is our winter rye growing that I said is in a different field. It's about, let's say, 2 months old, and you can see it's still staying nice and green with all this current cold temperature. But in the background here, in the above part of your screen, and I'll get a better shot here, is current weed grass, and you can see how that has gone dormant or died out. But you can see how the winter rye is still surviving, and that's what I use that winter rye seed to help grow that soil. So I'm going to take a sample, and we'll set up that demonstration inside and get warmed up, and I'll talk to you soon. So I currently have my presentation set up for you as I promised. This is going to give you a bit of a review from steps 1 through 3 that I did already in the other videos. So let's start with our fall leaves. We collect as much fall leaves as we can. Then we want to keep them as moist as much as possible. We want to add some sand, silt, and clay, our native soil. Now this is rich soil that was growing underneath the winter rye, but most of my soil is hard clay. So I took that and I add a good portion of it, at least 10 or 15% into the leaves already, and that's going to keep them separated so I can get more moisture in here. And plus, when I turn those leaves over all the time to bring up the moist leaves from the bottom to the top, I'm also going to be mixing that sand, silt, and clay in there, giving me air gaps to help decay the soil. Plus, that soil is going to also help my soil food web grow. They need certain other parts of small pieces so it doesn't compact down and gives them air. So when we make leaf mold or compost, we are trying to restart the soil food web. That is their home that they're going to be living in, that we're going to bring back to our soil again. But the only thing is, we're not going to be able to bring everything in it. We're going to bring certain bacteria and certain fungi. We're not going to be able to bring mycorrhizal fungi that's alive. There might be some spores in there, but we're not going to have them living yet because they need a root, a plant root, to grow. And a lot of these other things are not going to be there also too. So we're only going to have portions of that available. So that's why when you deliver compost to your garden, or you're going to deliver leaf mold to your garden, you don't have that whole soil food web working yet. So let's go a little bit further to get that started. So our next step that we had to do is we had to grow soil. Now we added seeds to that soil that was at least 60% sand, silt, and clay, which is this, and this is what it will turn into with the organic matter. But we need something like a living root to grow, to provide that root to grow mycorrhizal fungi. It cannot grow on its own. It actually needs this host of a living root here. Let me get a better picture of it for you. It needs these roots here to attach to be a host and go out in the soil. You cannot see mycorrhizal fungi growing in the soil. You need a magnification of 400 to actually see it when you are able to carefully remove this root and take it out of the soil and have those small filaments attached to those roots. And only then underneath the microscope you can see it, like I said, that 400 magnification. And what this amazing mycorrhizal fungi does is that it delivers something called glomalin. And what that will do is make these aggregates like this one here. This is not formed by just, let's see if I can get this here. They're like little round pellets, as you can see here, that are formed by the mycorrhizal fungi growing in the ground, and that separates all the sand, silt, and clay and makes these round, let's say, pellets in the ground, almost like worm castings, so the water can filter through in the ground and supply roots their nutrients that it needs. That's all this here. All these pieces of chunks are being held together by mycorrhizal fungi. Now also too, what you can see here is a rock. Even this rock here, and a lot of people will mention, well, gee, I have to add rock dust to my garden. Rock dust is just a broken down rock. That's all it is. If you have a rock, this mycorrhizal fungi is coming out of this and attaching itself to this rock and pulling nutrients out of it. It has acids inside the mycorrhizal fungi to actually remove and decay this rock. That's what all this smaller particles is. That's what basically your sand, silt, and clay is, which in your soil is broken down rocks from the mycorrhizal fungi. Now, all this is going on free of charge. You didn't have to buy anything or do anything, and this is working. But the whole key is you have to form these aggregates. Thus, you have to have a seed in the ground over here to grow the winter rye, to have the root to make that mycorrhizal grow permanently. Plus, also, what you're doing by this is you're also supplying the planet clean air. You have this beautiful green grass that's taking in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, releasing oxygen back out for us, and is feeding this soil, in the soil food web, liquid carbon in the ground. And I don't know if you remember, when I was growing up, I'm in my 50s, when I was growing up, they always told you to plant the tree to clean the air. It's true to not the trees, to anything that's on your soil, because they're filters. Everything that's green is going to take oxygen out of the air and put that carbon back in the ground. So any bare soil else too is not doing anything good by being bare, or let's say naked, is because it's not putting carbon dioxide back in the ground. It's more in the air, and it's not making us healthy. I also want to show you this. This is a fact sheet from Rutgers University in my state of New Jersey. And what it is about plant nutrients in miscible leaves. Now, so I'm going to give you a breakdown on the second part, but it's going to show you how much nutrients is available in these leaves that is all locked up. And you'll be pleasantly surprised that the only thing you need to add to your soil is leaves, whether you incorporate them eventually as leaf mold or lay them on your surface. And here's a breakdown of all the minerals that are in those leaves. This is a scientific report, again, done by Rutgers University in my state of New Jersey. And it will show you that it has everything you could possibly imagine to keep your plants healthy. I just want to add this in because a lot of people are going to ask me, why do I choose winter rye to grow? And why can't I use other cover crops? In certain areas you can. The best guide, it's hard to answer your question because I don't know what zone you are in and how late you're planting, but the best guide to go to that I find, and it's free of charge, is ask for, and I'm not promoting this company by any means for seeds, is Johnny Seeds, johnnyseeds.com. And this is their catalog, and I'll show you the page. So I'm on page 196 of their new catalog for 2018, and it's underneath farm seed. Now they will give you a breakdown of all the cover crops or farm seed that they sell for cover cropping, and it will tell you when you can sow it, when's the best time, and also the minimum germination temperature that it requires. So for example, we have our winter rye, which is here. It says anytime, fall for grain only, and it has to have at least 34 degrees Fahrenheit or 1 degree Celsius to germinate. So the winter rye, like I mentioned, it gives you those three things, plus how quick it grows, how much you need to sow per 1,000 feet or per acre, and how deep it should go, and a couple other key facts that go with it. It's a great catalog for a reference. Again, get the catalog just as a reference for your cover cropping needs, and it will tell you this breakdown, and you'll have a reference for life. So when that mycorrhizal fungi is growing in your soil here and is making these beautiful aggregates, mixing all that sand, silt, and clay together into these little, let's say, pellets here, and I'm going to give you a better demonstration here what I have set up, so it may look like something like this. And the reason why I want to show you this is because so when it rains, all these pellets that are around in nature is going to let water through. Now, I've been calling them pellets, but they're really called aggregates. There's micro and there's macro soil aggregates in your soil, and that means either large or small. Now, when it rains, and we'll just add water here, you can see that it goes by very quickly through there, and you can see that the water level is rising very nicely. Now, this is the key point that I was so interested in showing you about this in part 4 about these soil aggregates, and this is something that I learned too. Again, our water level is here. Now I'm going to mark it with our pencil. Now when that water level goes down, because it's filling all those air spaces up, it's also creating is a siphon. It's like pulling a plug out of the drain, and now it's just going to be forcing down and pulling all this water down. But also what it's doing is grabbing oxygen from the air here and pulling it down also. And that oxygen is going to filter through all these little parts and pieces here and give life back to that soil again. So if you ever notice after it rains that everything perks back up, well, yes, it's part of the water, and yes, it's part of feeding that soil food web again with moisture, but it's also that renewable of a lot of oxygen coming down, and everything gets to multiply, because during most of the time here that we have here is that we have organic matter in the ground like our leaves. That's decaying, they're eating that, and they're giving off carbon dioxide also too. So the carbon dioxide is always going out like a chimney, like you're starting a fire down here and bringing it up. Now what the rain does, it actually will put that fire out for a second and pull air back down into the soil, thus helping it rejuvenate again. My other point that I want to bring up is that everything here is only done by one thing, is by purchasing some winter rye seed, or you can use other cover crops that are in your area that will help build those aggregates. But we didn't have to buy any other product. We got our leaves for free, and our soil, our native soil is there that we have to do already. We just mix that with our leaves. We build a raised bed to help this process get started so the roots can go down through that soil quicker to build aggregates and make that mycorrhizal fungi grow in our soil. Again, this has been going on for hundreds and thousands of years already, and nature knows how to repair itself. We just have to do one thing, is not disturb that soil. Now, when I say not disturb it, you can always disturb maybe the top ½ inch or an inch of soil, because it will heal itself very quickly. You don't want to go down more than, say, 7 inches. The first top 7 inches of soil is your main base for your soil food web to be growing. But if you disturb that little top layer, it's not that bad. It can, again, repair itself, but you have to repair itself with either a layer of leaves or wood chips or some type of material growing like a cover crop, or trees or shrubs or any type of perennials to keep those living roots in there. I want to thank you very much for watching today's video and taking time out of the day to do so. And I also want to wish you a very happy and safe New Year's Eve. It's almost the end of 2017, and 2018 is right around the corner. Now enjoy it, and I have a great video for you on New Year's Day of one of hope of 2018, especially in the garden community and for this planet, and I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I do making it for you. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, and if you can, always try to like my videos so we can share them with other gardeners out there. Thank you very much, and have a great New Year's Eve.